Yo, how's it? It's Inconvenient Rob again. Always hard to get the lighting right in these places. Just keeps on going from one illumination level to the next. Anyway, so yeah, in the last video I was speaking about certain people are, well, it really doesn't matter what you do, you can't get what you want out of them. So, or it comes at a price. So, check it out. I made a couple of notes because I'm trying to be more professional. No, that's definitely not it. No, I definitely don't need to go to a museum just yet. No. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, see, the great thing about my writing, if you can see, is that it's actually not blue, it's just the light. It's so illegible that even if somebody did find it, they wouldn't be able to work it out. It's like hieroglyphics. Anyway, okay, so one of the things I realized, and this is super important, it's probably going to be the primary thing I'm going to discuss now, is that almost everything you do or that anyone else does for you comes with a price tag. Now, what does that mean? It changes from person to person. It's not the same for everyone. Some people's price tags will be substantially lower than others. Some will be rather extreme, like my current situation. And when I talk about a price tag, what I mean is, well, I've said, and I'm not trying to be a cynic here, and I said I don't think people do things just to be nice. There's always something in it for them. Now, relating this to what's happening with me, it's a question of feeling philanthropic. The person feels that they're doing a good thing, that they're helping someone out. There's been numerous examples since I've been here where the person apparently bends over backwards to help people, but whereas with some people, they'll do this, well, I don't believe in unconditional, but they'll do this for the sake of doing it, so to speak. No es la case con this tipo. Yeah. So the price tag effectively is whenever something good is done, whenever mentioned person does anything nice for me, there's a sort of built-up account. Look at it like a bank account. Debit and credit. Okay. So the nice things that they do go into the debit column. So it's like, I don't know, you can give it a numerical value if you want. Let's rather use numbers, letters. Okay. So X, Y, Z, blah, blah, A, B, C, etc., etc. Then they tally it up. Now, they're not doing this necessarily on purpose, but for whatever reason, they may at some point feel that they just aren't getting as much in return as they're putting out. So it's kind of like interest, if you will. So to use accounting, the debits and the credits don't balance at the end of the day. And for these people, to a large extent, it is the same for everyone. It's just, as I said, on different levels. Now, for this person, these are extreme. So whenever something good is done, there's always this tally going on at the back saying, okay, I've done this for this person, so therefore, what is it that I'm expecting in return? But here's the catch. Even that is, in my opinion, rather incorrect. I don't think that one should do things with that in mind. You have to get something out of the situation, or there's no point in doing it at all. But when if you will, the limit is reached, then all hell breaks loose. Okay, and at no point is there. It's kind of like someone giving you a loan and saying, pay me back when you can, and then phoning you up out the blue and saying, I want all the money now. It's pretty much exactly what it is. And then, you haven't had time to get all the money together. You've been trying to pay it off in bits and pieces, but suddenly the person wants everything, and because they don't get it, because you can't give it to them, they flip out. Okay, it's you know, I don't want to use psychiatric terms, but it's a very, very sudden change in behavior, and it's all. I've got to stop bumping the table. I've got to find like a jelly thing or something that keeps it stable. Anyway, so yeah, so that's what I've realized, is that all of these things that are done, like for example, accommodation, food, meeting with people, being taken places, whatever. This is done not just out of niceness, but this is done not only in order to have some sort of recompense, if you will, in order to get something back, but it's also a form of leverage, okay? So the more this person does for you, I promise it's vanilla milk, the more this person does for you, the more they expect in return. But of course, that's not set out from the outset. And again, I repeat, I don't even think the person's aware of the fact that this is the case, because their behavior, you know, when compared with their supposed rationality as a human being, is so beyond anything that you could possibly ever perceive to be logical, like just woo, like way out there, like in the stratosphere, that you just don't tie them up. And that's another one of the key elements here of the power of this destructive force, is that the person you think you're dealing with is capable of doing and saying things that are so atrocious and so debilitating, you know, and so ego destroying, that you honestly just can't believe it. You know, I've just been sitting there going, yeah, what am I, in some sort of dream state? You know, and what I realized is, it comes down to this. I wrote here, a good deed, and remember again, this is not for everyone, but I think this does apply to a lot of people, and it should be mentioned. A good deed equals power, and it equals ownership. Power and ownership. Okay. The more this person does for me, the more he or she feels like I'm indebted to them, and I'm giving them power, because as it stands, for me to release myself from this position would be incredibly difficult. I have a lot of stuff here. It's incredibly expensive for me to change, you know, to move out. I'm on the Côte d'Azur in Nice, you know, just like literally a stone's throw from the Mediterranean. It's about to be peak season. It costs a damn fortune to find somewhere to stay. So again, this is power, this is leverage, this is ownership. So again, at the end of the day, one has to ask oneself, is the abuse worth it? Okay. In my case, it is. But I think I made more notes here. What I did was I came to the realization that this person is using one of the most cruel and powerful manipulative techniques possible, because it's this constant up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, helping you, then destroying you, helping you, then destroying you. And the psychological effect of this is grave. Grave, 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 grave. If this had happened to me 5 years ago, then I would be a bloomin' nutcase by now. Excuse me, I'd be on the first plane home. Wherever that is. And I mean that. So, it's a fantastic manipulative technique, but it's incredibly cruel. Do not ever do it. Do not ever, ever, ever do this. Otherwise, you know, if you believe in karma or something, well, I hope there's some form of retribution if you do, because you bloody deserve it. Another thing I realized is they probably need you more than you actually think, okay? Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this the whole time. You don't feel a need to have dominion or ownership or control over someone if it's not adding something to their lives, okay? If they don't feel a need to show that they are these nice, just, good people, which appears to be this constant theme that is reoccurring the whole time. which is why the person mentioned there's always doing good things and getting involved in charity and helping people, whatever. It's a load of BS. Okay, so understand this. Understand that as much as it's ownership, it's manipulative, it's disgusting. They're only doing it because, in a funny way, they need you to be there in order to get this energy out, in order to vent. Because if you're not there, then there's no one they can do it with. This person is lonely. Obviously, I've come to realize is miserable. So, screw that. It actually, having to come to that realization actually gives me a little bit of power. So what I did, and I mean, this is so trivial, but to me, what you do is you do everything you can to take that power away. So listen to the things that they're approaching you on constantly. Okay. With this person, it's constantly being berated for lack of common sense. I'm sorry, there's some things I just don't know how to do. I'm not mechanically adept. I'm adept at other things, but when it comes to mechanics, no. I'm not particularly good at doing the dishes. Sorry. I didn't really have to. Whoops. Okay. Is it something that you can justify, constantly destroying someone on? No. Okay. But if the person does flip out and tells you to do the bloody dishes, you know what? Just shut up and do the dishes. Okay? Don't get defensive. Just do them. One of the things that I've realized, and that I think is so incredibly important, there was this constant reminder that this person is giving me things. Okay? I'm not talking about a place to stay. That's not what I'm referring to. That hasn't really ever come up, because I think that would be a little bit too obvious. It's mainly things like food and, well, no, things to drink. Okay, I'll make it vague. So initially it wasn't a problem, but then all of a sudden it became a massive issue. So what I took a step back and I thought, you know what? Okay, getting my accommodation for free. Yes, I can afford to buy my own drink, like milk, and my own food. And by doing that, you're saying, you know what, screw you, stuff you, I don't need your charity in that regard. So now I've taken some of that, not all of it, but I've taken some of it away. It's a little chunk, but it's not a lot. From here I need to, it gets complicated. But I think that's just a really simple example of what to do. Find out what it is that the person's doing to use as leverage against you, to hold it against you, and just do what you can to, excuse me, it's really dry. Do what you can just to not give them the power. Look, don't get me wrong, the person still has a lot of control over me. I'm still in a situation where it's not like I can throw my toys and just storm out the room, because that'll kill me. So, but yeah, so I found that to be a rather interesting one. And then, yeah, so I'm pretty much sure. Look, there are other ways of doing it, but I think the things to leave you with is, okay, there's always a price tag. Okay, so don't think anybody does anything for free, or just out of the kindness of their hearts. You will get your occasional one, but very rarely is that the case. And then, secondly, realize that you, as much as they're destroying you, they also need you in order to be destroyed. So realize that you do have a bit of power that way, and try and work out how you can, how you can possibly use that. So don't forget that they do need you if they're constantly bringing you down, because it gives them some sort of sense of self-worth. Again, work out if it's worth the effort, if it's worth the emotional abuse. I'm on inverted commas holiday, so if I want to get out the house, I can get out the house. I don't have to see the person. Fine, done. Okay, you can make a plan. So in my case, yes. Okay, if you're in other abusive, say relationships or whatever it is, then that's for you to decide. But in my case, it currently is worth it, and do everything you can to take the power away from them. And as I said, in this case, for me, it's buying everything myself, making sure that the person knows that I can, that I'm not reliant on them in that way. So yeah, so that's pretty much where I am with this installment. I think they're going to get progressively more interesting. Hopefully the environments will get more interesting, because it's pretty damn boring, actually. They're really beautiful views and stuff. Wait, hang on. I'm just going to, like, take this, just see if I can, like, no, it's just a towel. Okay, well, you know, well, I promise that on the other side of a towel is a beach. I promise. So, anyway, okay, I don't want to make it too long, so I'm going to leave you today. Again, Inconvenient Rob. Why is it inconvenient? Because it's true.